There we go. I hit the record button. So
we're recording live.
we are. So why do you want to kill people?
Oh my, Tristan! No. let's talk about. Let's not. Okay, let's rephrase that.
Okay.
Let's use better language. What
Okay. Tell me, why is your right to kill people? Why is that superior to my right not to die?
I don't want to kill people, Tristan.
I know. Just
so. I can't get over it. You'll be cutting this off in front of it.
Maybe. Okay, so
let's open a little softer, maybe.
A little softer opening.
Softer
All
opening.
Right. Justin, thank you for joining me again to have a conversation. And I know this might be a little combative, but in a good spirit. If there's anything that I say or you say that can be taken out of context, I'm sure it will.
Probably.
But it's all in the...
It's a good, healthy, civil debate.
Conversation. And I like to approach things from a different angle. So we're going to talk about guns.
Guns. Okay. Are we talking about the Second Amendment in general, or guns in church, or what are we talking about?
Yes.
All of the above.
Well, we'll see how it goes. But I know my framework is a little bit different. I guess I can start by saying, look, I believe that God has granted us a country that we're able to have freedoms that a lot of countries don't have. I'm all for the Second Amendment, that we have that right under our Constitution. But I've always had a concern or a question with those that would trust in their personal protection, and it gives the appearance more than they trust that God will take care of them. So that's where that's where.
So I think that's the first mistake folks make, that say, well, I support the Second Amendment. That's all fine and well, but why do you only trust in your gun? I don't only trust in my firearm. So the Lord has created all things to better His kingdom, and I think the same is true with firearms. Now,
can we just slow down? You say that He's created all things, and but firearms help His kingdom? How?
Because
go ahead.
If you got a flock of sheep, do you have to protect them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So a firearm is just a tool. It's no different than any other tool. Right. I could protect them with a hammer, but a firearm would be more efficient, more effective. So what you have to understand is, you assume, or folks assume, not you personally, folks assume that because I own a firearm, I carry a firearm at all times, that I don't believe the Lord's going to protect me. No, I do believe the Lord's going to protect me. I carry a Bible as well. The thing is it's your last chance, your last ditch effort to protect yourself, your family, your friends, your church members. By all means, you want to de-escalate first.
Okay, well, hold on. You said it's your last chance. How do you know that?
If someone's coming at you with a gun, you're going to assume they're going to use it. If they're being aggressive and telling you they're going to use a weapon on you, it's safe to say they're probably going to. Especially if they're up to nefarious, acts.
You want to protect yourself and those around you.
Yeah. I've never pulled my weapon in self-defense. Never had to. 99% chance I never will. But it's that 1%. I would rather have it and not need it than that 1% chance of need it and not have it.
So when do you know whether you'll need it?
I said that you'll know. You'll know. When you feel, I'll tell you the legal definition.
Okay.
When you feel your life is in danger, okay, your life is being threatened and you cannot get away, there is no other means for protection, you fear for your life, you're going to die. That's when you might need to use a firearm.
All right. So I just want to be clear. I'm not opposed to firearms. I love to shoot them and stuff. But mine is a reaction. It's just bear with me. I'll probably make.
This is gonna be a reaction video. Tristan reacting to Justin.
the mentality of that your ultimate. Let me let me lay it out this way.
Okay.
Even Jesus said that and I think I mentioned this earlier when we were talking about this. He told the disciples to put away their swords, and he chastised Peter for getting it out when he was in the very situation that you would say that's when you get your firearm out, is when he told Peter to put it away, his sword. And it is because Jesus knew the situation better than Peter did. Peter reacted to the situation.
Jesus knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yes, he did. But he told him to put it away. And that was based upon the fact that Jesus knew what was going on and Peter didn't. So my question sometimes is, we get into a situation and we react according to our training, and we lean on something that we have, but it could be that God has a different plan at that time.
But are you going to have a lot of time to think about that though? I mean, we're talking milliseconds, seconds. I mean, we're talking a very short time frame, but you have to make a decision. Do I want to, be a martyr, or do I want to protect myself and my family?
Well, you're right. I mean, it's a moment in time.
I'm sure bad decisions. I'm sure people make the wrong decisions. It happens.
Okay, let me just lay out my perhaps a little bit bent view on things. I believe I am just as protected and able to encounter in a situation with the Bible as I am a firearm. Now, just so you know, I think we have firearms at home. My grandpa gave my dad his 22. You probably like it. It's a hexagon thing. I think 1908. It's a 22. Mm-hmm. So we have that. And then Becky, my wife, she inherited some kind of handgun that shoots big bullets.
So let's we're super focused. Let's back up a little bit and look at the bigger picture.
Okay.
Here in America, we have so many wonderful rights. Okay.
Yes.
And the thing that people have to realize and remember is it's super easy, super quick to have those rights taken away.
Yes.
But it can take generations to get a right back.
Yes.
So while we want to be safe and we want to not have people use firearms in the wrong instances, and we don't want to promote killing, that's not what it's about.
Right.
A lot of it is about just our right. And people talk about common sense gun control, and that's a whole other debate. But it's a matter of how far you go. You can use England for an example. They'll take this weapon. That's too dangerous. The public can't have that. And then a few years later, well, this weapon's too dangerous too. Especially with government, there's never a stopping point.
It's an incremental creep towards total disarming. I understand that.
And so for no other reason, I mean, just that alone to me is, and if you don't use a right, you could lose it. So why not exercise that right? And especially if you want to be an advocate of when to use it, why you shouldn't you should try it out yourself. You should use that right that you have. And I'm not saying I'm just saying it's something that you should think about. You could think about is am I going to lose this right if I don't? If we don't vote, are we going to lose the right to vote?
Yeah.
It's one of those kind of things. And I'm all for folks not carrying guns. I have had a gentleman tell me I can't carry a gun. Okay, well, why? I'm too angry of a person. Really?
Oh, then you say, bless you for not carrying. Thank you.
He said, I know myself. I have a temper, and I can't guarantee I wouldn't pull a weapon when I was mad at somebody. I'm like, are you serious? He said, yeah. Then that's a smart decision for you not to carry a firearm.
Yeah, it is.
And so I'm not against people who don't carry firearms at all. I just think it's one of those things we should talk about. And the first thing you go to is, well, why do you have the right to kill a person? I don't want to kill a person. I'd much rather talk to them about Jesus.
I know that.
I'd much rather disarm a situation. Talk people down, de-escalation. These are all techniques that are used long before we ever consider a fire. Even less lethal options. Tasers and rubber bullets and all these kind of things. those are all well and good too. They have their place in society.
Yeah.
But in the end, I have been. So we talk about folks who don't believe in God. A lot of times, in the very end, they'll call out to God. Who do they call out to? They call out to God. I've been in situations with folks who don't necessarily believe in the right to bear arms. Not that they want to take mine away; they just don't want to carry one themselves. But you know what? I've been in a situation where they've looked at me and go, "Do you have your gun on you?" Yes, I do. And maybe it's like we've talked off camera before. Maybe it's that only a certain people really need to have a firearm.
Well,
Maybe so.
It's proportional.
It's proportional.
Because even before, I think it was even before the Peter in the garden with his little sword incident that Jesus asked, "Do you have any swords with you here?" And they said, here are two. And he said, "That's enough." So let's say there's 12 disciples and there was 2 swords. That Jesus, proportionally, there were some that were carrying, which was enough.
And that proportion can be flipped on its head. You know, I'm sure one of the concerns of the security team, we have a security team here at church, is that every grandma and grandpa has a 38 on them or a pistol on them, and in an actual, which is very likely not to happen, where they had to, they're probably worried about the other folks in the congregation who have a firearm themselves.
Yeah, that reminds me of we're in a church.
Hey, we laugh, but it's a real concern. Yeah, it's something that, you know.
Well, I just recall a fellow who said, the safest place to be in church is not sitting near that person over there. I said, well, why? Because they're carrying. And if anything happened, that's where the bullets would be flying back at him because he's going to get up and he's going to be shooting in the direction of the person with a gun. I said, oh, I see. Maybe there's some wisdom in that. I just want to clarify.
Okay.
I used to have my own rifle and stuff.
Why don't you now?
I will tell you why.
Okay.
Because we went through a phase, and my father-in-law, my wife's dad, he was the first militia in Washington State. And it was back in the time when militia was a big thing. I'm not sure what year it still is, but it was so much so that the ATF was camping out, spying on them for however long because it talked about things. And I love my father-in-law, but he had so many weapons, and he had ammo buried all over the place, and he was he was a prepper. That was when preppers was a new thing.
Yeah.
Back, that prepping for the end time. And what would happen is that there was this flavor, maybe. I started tasting this flavor of a dependence on something extra. It was a dependence on having enough to protect themselves, to surviving whatever apocalypse.
Leaning too much on earthly things and not enough on the Lord.
Yeah, and so I started to develop in my mind at that time a question is like, well, okay, if I'm supposed to prep and be prepared, how many bullets do I need?
Okay, we'll get back to that.
Oh.
Let's
like
back up.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's back up for a second.
All right.
So this is something I talked to the men's group about. I've talked to it several times because it was a problem I had.
Okay.
We can turn anything into an idol.
Yeah. We
can turn guitars into an idol. We can turn firearms.
Oh, I see what you did there. Oh, great.
We can turn firearms into an idol. We can turn cars. We can turn anything into an idol.
Yes.
And so the thing we have to bear in mind is that all things, God meant things for enjoyment and for pleasure and for self-defense, but they all have to be in a certain where they're supposed to be. None of that's bigger than God. And so it sounds to me like your family member got to the point where they were relying a little more on that than they were the Lord. And I see, why you feel the way you felt about it.
And this is just, and then it was even, okay, am I being stupid? Am I being foolish? And I believe the Lord kept saying to me, it's not wrong. He didn't sound like that, but this is what he was just, they're not wrong, but for you, you trust that I'll take care of you. Yes, Lord. I have your back in every situation. Well, yes, Lord. Do you think they're better prepared for anything than you are? Well, Lord, if you're on my side, who can be against me? Therefore, my mentality over the years has been, I like to shoot guns. I like to, but my dependence is on God. I think I have just as much ammo, and I'm a better shot than anybody carrying, which is,
Sounds like a challenge.
and I'm not talking a shot
know.
with the physical gun. I'm just talking about. I've been on mission trips, and I've gotten into some situations that were a little scary, but I wasn't allowed to carry. In Nigeria, there's a show of force coming in. They all have guns. I don't have guns, but it's just like, oh, but God, you got my back on this one. You have a plan. So I guess that was the incubation of just going. I'm.
So,
go ahead.
You share some personal, experiences with it. It's no different for me. I make the joke, and it's kind of a joke. It's kind of not, that if I've got pants on, I've got a firearm on. I've traveled as well, and you can check. Technically, people don't know this. You can check a firearm at an airport. But when I flew, I choose not to. I don't want to entrust my personal protection tool to an outside bunch of people, and I'd rather just go without it and lean on the Lord. So we went to New Orleans. We flew to New Orleans. Now, I don't know if you've been on New Orleans late at night. You're leaning on the Lord for protection. You go, Lord, you've got my back. I don't have the tool that you provided for me to protect myself, but I know you've got me. And there's plenty of times like that when that's going to happen. And that's how you know your faith in the Lord is where it needs to be. That doesn't mean that I can't carry one with me, or that I shouldn't carry one with me when I can, when it's safe, when it's legal. So yeah. I think we're two sides of the same coin.
I anticipate that is what, but I'm reactive to those that get so involved in it, and they even, maybe it's the mindset of someone else looking down on you because you're not, or that you're being foolish. And there's a good chance I'm being foolish, because I kind of lean that way anyway.
I don't think so.
But
I don't think there's anything wrong with either viewpoint of, carrying just because you can and you feel that you should, and not carrying because the Lord's got your back and you're good. I don't think there's anything right or wrong by either position. And I think the main thing we should establish here is that we live in a country where we have rights and freedoms, and it's no different for me to choose to carry than it is for you. That's your freedom not to carry. And just like we both lean on the Lord, we just do it in a little bit different mindsets and ways. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I would ask folks who aren't about firearms but enjoy shooting them, don't feel they should carry them, what is your goal for owning a firearm? If you just want one for hunting, then have a shotgun or rifle at home. If you believe it's for personal protection, you're going to want a firearm you can carry on you that's concealable. I prefer concealed carry. How many bullets do I need? Okay, well, are you going to go practice with this firearm so you're proficient with it? If so, you'll want a few rounds. How many you need for personal protection? Most things are resolved in shootings in 2 to 3 shots, usually just one. So you don't need a lot of ammunition to protect yourself. One of the big debates in the handgun world is, how many rounds should my gun carry? How many magazines should I carry with me? Those kind of things. And it's all just fluff.
Well, it might be based on Hollywood impressions. People don't realize how much of an influence Hollywood has on that. And like you say, well, even like in fight scenes in movies and stuff, these guys are going at it, throwing each other all over the place and hitting. I hit my elbow the other day and I was out for the count. It's not realistic.
I sleep the wrong way and I can't move the next day.
It's just like, I was at an eye doctor way back when, and that's when they used the puff of air to see. And I remember thinking this, because they hit me with this puff of air, and I'm just, oh. And I said, I'm never going to last through any kind of tribulation. If a puff of air puts me out of, anyway. Yeah, I just don't have the countenance for that kind of thing.
I would dare say that, the world's big enough for all different kind of Christians. And that's the main thing. We have the same core beliefs. And like you said, there's a proportion to it. And there's just as much room for folks who choose to carry as there is folks who choose not to carry for whatever reason. and that we respect each other. We both our main goal is the same, to protect ourselves, to glorify God's kingdom, and how we go about that isn't necessarily important. It's like denominations. I mean, how many, for example, different Baptist denominations? I'm a former recovering Baptist, is what I call it. Sorry,
Okay.
guys. We're an Assemblies of God church here, and there's nothing wrong with being any other denomination as long as the core beliefs in Christianity are the same. We just go about it differently. And these denominations were created by man, not God.
Yeah.
And it's the same is true with every little topic like we're talking about now. Guns, for example. There's nothing wrong with your opinion or my opinion. It's just we go about it a different way.
All right. One kind of question, one of those gotcha ones.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll see.
Sure.
So you have someone has a firearm, very well equipped, has the ammo, and is really proficient with that, but they don't know the Word of God. And then you have someone without a firearm, but they know the Word of God. Who is better armed?
Wow, that is a gotcha one. Depends on what you're saying armed for, to protect themselves or to get to heaven. I'll tell you who I'd rather be. I'd rather be the guy who knows the Lord, has a Bible, and doesn't have a firearm. I'd rather be that guy.
Welcome. Come on in.
I mean, if you're making me choose here,
yeah. If we can close out with that. No, but I guess the point of that is there's some that think they're very, very prepared, but they really haven't honored the thing that's going to make them fully prepared,
right.
Because they only have temporary ammo. It's for that situation right here and now. But if you have the other, you have, eternal security as far as a relationship with God. So I guess that's the point of the whole thing. I'm not knocking people who carry.
Oh,
It's
a good thing, because our whole church is full of folks who carry.
Yes. That's fine. And there's comfort in that. I was in Israel decades ago, and I thought, it's going to be kind of precarious at night. I felt safer there than when I was living up in Seattle area. Walking downtown Seattle at night is scarier than walking around in Israel, because everybody's carrying there, and everybody's got to go through the military. They have to be in the army for 2 years, I think it is. So everybody carries in Israel, and you feel safe because there's somebody.
When the playing field is equal,
yeah,
and that's people ask me, because I do a lot of buying, selling, trading with guns and firearms, like I do cars,
mm-hmm.
and people ask me, aren't you afraid you're going to get robbed? You've got all these valuable firearms. I go, no. I'm carrying a firearm. They're probably carrying a firearm. They probably know I'm carrying. We know we're on the same playing field
right.
here. And it's actually, of all the transactions I do and trades and things, it's some of the most safe feeling you've ever done. Meet a total stranger and at a random, neutral location,
yeah.
and we're going to exchange these items or buy, sell, or trade, or whatever
right.
we're doing.
Yeah.
Very equal, very safe feeling.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I think that's pretty good for this.
Okay. I could talk for hours about it. But.
Well, no, I like that. I like that there's a passion for it, but it's that balance. We have likes and dislikes and hobbies and different things that take up our time. As long as they are all under the umbrella of trusting in God, that He ultimately is the one who protects us
right.
in season, out of season, whether we're carrying or not carrying. He's the one who will, get us through to the end. He says that he who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it at the end. And that's the Lord we serve.
I think that a lot of the folks at home don't realize that even though we've talked off camera, a lot of this stuff, we're learning each other and who we are as we do this podcast. So I'm sure that's interesting to watch.
Well, we would hope so.
That's the point, right?
All right.
All right.
Okay, for those who've been watching, we do thank you for watching this podcast. And as it develops and grows, and I'll be hanging out with Justin more. We thank you for just tuning in. Subscribe, that helps our channel. Leave a comment, that helps our channel. And also in the comments, put down something, what do you think?
Do you carry in church?
Yeah, let us know if you carry.
That's something we shouldn't do, probably.
Oh, probably. Never mind. We don't want to know. But thank you for watching. We will see you next time.